All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is October 26th, 2021. My name is Andre Rainey, and I'm the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill, New York, and I'm joined for our weekly update, the COVID pandemic that we've been facing here in the city of Peekskill, joined by our awesome city manager, Mr. Andy Stewart. Good afternoon, Andy.
How are you, Mayor? It's great to see you.
Good to see you too, and I'm doing pretty well. Just I think as good as I can possibly be on a rainy day, but rainies love rainy days. But thank you again for being here. And as many of you may or may not know by now, every week we've decided to come to the city of Peekskill doing these weekly updates to give you an idea of where the city of Peekskill stands with the COVID response, COVID numbers as far as active cases, and now COVID percentages and where we are with the city of Peekskill being vaccinated. So we've also decided to add some more information just to update the community on some of the happenings of the city of Peekskill. We're going to do that today, as we do every week. But we're going to start off with COVID, and I'll turn it over to
Let's do
Andy.
the numbers. Let's do the numbers. So over the last few weeks, our COVID number has been a little lower than it was before. A few weeks ago, it was up around 47. A few weeks before that, I was up at 72 active cases. And the last check of the Westchester data portal, it was at 37, which is, it's nice to see it kind of flat in the 30s over the last several weeks. So I guess that's a good thing. Although our best wishes go out to anybody who's contracted the disease and is struggling with that. We wish them health and better health. So the other number that we track, Mayor, is the vaccination rate, which is a really important number. This number has been steadily climbing in the city. We're up at 79.2%, which is it goes up a little bit every week. Actually, it's great to see that more and more people are getting vaccinated. And a few weeks ago it was at 78. A few weeks before that, down at 72. And late August it was at 70%. So it's come up, almost 20% since late August, which is really fabulous. I'll be thrilled. I'm sorry, about 10%. I'll be thrilled when we hit 80%. That'll be great. Maybe we'll hit that next week.
Right, absolutely. All right, so we're definitely moving, and as we say every week, continue to practice social distancing, continue to wear masks. The city of Peekskill's been leading by an example. We've been hosting our council meetings and other meetings in hybrid version, where the council members are on the dais, spread out at a minimum of 6 feet apart, wearing masks. And those who can't attend or don't feel comfortable to attend or just don't want to take the chances and being in person, they're permitted to do their meetings from their home or from their private office on a hybrid version. So we thank everyone for continuing to practice the safety precautions of COVID, and we're getting through this slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it over to you, Andy.
So thanks for that. I know you had a couple of topics you wanted to get into, Mary. I know you don't have a lot of time today, so what would you like to talk about first?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. So a couple of updates. Just as notice, there will be Indian Point test siren tomorrow at about 10:30 in the morning. So if you hear that siren go off, please note it's only a test and no action by the public is necessary. This is just something we put on our Facebook page. We use the Facebook for these kinds of updates. There's a lot of other information there as well. One of the items on the Facebook page today is a notice about the Human Relations Commission meeting taking place tomorrow night. It's taking place via Zoom. It will be taped and later broadcast on the local channel and off the city website. We don't have the capability of doing a live broadcast of that meeting due to competing spaces, essentially. But the topic for the HRC tomorrow has to do with our police reform project. And there will be a really great discussion of the idea of a community complaint review board, which is a major piece of legislation that the task force recommended in its report that came out on April 1st this year. And that's a big piece of work. There's been a lot of good work done by various folks on the task force and also on the NAACP. So we'll be talking about that. Our police chief Delusky will be there as well with an update on the 40-odd recommendations in that task force report and how the police department's moving forward with those. So that's tonight at 7 o'clock. The documents for that meeting are available on the HRC webpage on the city website, as well as the information about how to participate.
There you go. Um, so I'll jump in a little too. There's an announcement going on, that's why I couldn't talk.
Sure, yeah, you got
A lot of
background.
background noise going on over here. I do want to let the people know that the city of Peekskill, we just last night at the council meeting, we approved the holiday parking schedule in the municipal garages, and it'll be free parking from right after Thanksgiving to December 31st of this year. So utilize the garages as much as you possibly can when you're in the downtown. Let family, friends, visitors know when they come, they can park in the downtown area right after Thanksgiving in the municipal garages, and they can have free parking. And we encourage the people that are utilizing the free parking to patronize the downtown businesses, restaurants, so on and so forth. But the schedule will begin right after Thanksgiving, going all the way up until December 31st of this
Yeah, we appreciate the work. That was a proposal by the Business Improvement District, and that
year.
group does so much good work to enliven and promote businesses in the downtown area. This is just one of many items that they work on every year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, we have set the public hearing for our 2022 budget. I want to thank Andy again and the entire city staff for working as hard as they possibly can to keep us under the tax cap, as well as provide the services the city of Peekskill needs. So if you're interested in learning more about the city budget, you can look on the city website, and you can also tune into the public hearing on November 8th, or you can actually attend the public hearing on November 8th, whatever you prefer. To make any suggestions or any recommendations before we actually approve the vote for 2022.
Yep, it's a major project every year, and we go through the budget line by line. Department heads make presentations to the city council. The council makes amendments to the budget the city manager creates, and then the final budget has to be adopted before the 1st of December. So we've got a little work to go yet on that, and then we'll be wrapping it up. There's so many important things that the city does that cost money. Our hardworking staff, you see the road work happening out there right now. The city's been paving roads for the last week or so, and people see that and appreciate that, and that's a very important contract for the city to move that forward. Another notice I just wanted to mention that people have been concerned about is the hydrant flushing program. It happens twice a year. I was talking about this last night at the council meeting, just updating the public, but it happens throughout October. And what it means is they open up the valves on hydrants to clean out the water to make sure it runs clean. But when that's happening, it actually runs with sediment in it, and people see that sediment coming out their faucets, and it's an annoyance to them. So we remind people to run their cold water if they see discoloration, and call the water department if they have a persistent issue. But this is part of maintaining that grid of water lines and keeping the water safe.
Absolutely. And this is also, I don't know, I think you just said it, but this is also something that the city of Peekskill does every year. I know that there was some like comments on Facebook saying that for every year for the past 10 years, they've been seeing water discoloration, but that's because every year for the past 10 years, we've been
It's
trying to
actually,
maintain and keep the
yeah,
water
it's
clean.
actually twice a year. It's a requirement of running the water system. So
Yeah, so just don't think that you know 10 years straight you've never had clear water or your water is not good. It's 10 years straight. Um, the city's been cleaning and maintaining the water so you can have clear water. So twice a year. What we're trying to do better at as a city is getting the information out there a little sooner. I know our water super came in, announced it at the meeting on Monday night that it was going to be happening that week.
yeah,
Which
just to be clear, Mayor, though, that notice goes out in a whole bunch of different ways. It's at the library, it's in the Journal News, the Puma Libre Spanish paper. It's on our
okay.
Facebook page. People even in the local media are blogged about it.
Great. Okay.
Government
Well,
channel. So
all right. So what I would
there's always going to be people who don't
who
see
just
it.
don't know, right?
Uh,
But what I'll do is what I will say is, as I've said since we started doing these meetings, is if you look for any information, you can always check the city website and find any postings or any like community information that we feel
for
needs to
sure.
go out or that community feel needs us to put out. We try to do it. We try to stay on top of that. But as always, we'll get through this.
Yeah, another item for last night, which is kind of a novelty, is that periodically the city has to buy cars for housing inspectors, and the council asked us to get an electric car for the next replacement vehicle, and it's exciting to move forward with that. It'll be the first electric car that the city owns, and we have to put a little outlet on the back of the parking lot and the building wall so that thing can charge up overnight. But it's exciting to see a little bit of a sustainability uh, project move forward in that way, and we'll look forward to testing out that vehicle and seeing how it works for city use.
So great, great, great. The city of Peekskill last night at the council meeting, we also voted to approve the purchase of Section 8 electric vehicle with the CARES Act funds. So we are definitely heading in the right direction. There's a lot of comments, questions on why we would get an electric vehicle, or why we'd get electric vehicle for this department, and so on and so forth. But I think all of the questions were answered last night.
It's not a Tesla. It's not going to be a Tesla. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, pretty much. But we're on our way. The Peekskill, we're on our way. Get a little bit more time, but we're definitely on our way. So, Andy, thank you and the team and the CAC and other members of the community, and Mrs. Gannis as well for their hard work
Absolutely.
making this happen.
A couple other reminders, Mayor. There's a couple of major policy issues that we're working on. I mentioned the Community Complaint Review Board, which we haven't gotten to that yet with the City Council, but that's coming. So just be aware of that. That'll be a very important discussion for the end of the year.
That's the CCRB you're talking about?
Yeah, the CCRB.
Now, I just want to let the people know that the council did already approve the recommendation from the task force. So these new recommendations doesn't mean that the old recommendations are going to be completely withdrawn or deleted. But if there are more recommendations to make it better, then the council will be able to discuss and include those recommendations.
Right. So this is coming out of the task force report, and it will be a time consuming because it's a big law to write, basically. So looking forward to having that discussion and supporting that with the city council over the however long it takes to get it done. We also have been working on the tree ordinance, and that will be back on November 15th for more discussion. The planning board commission offered some detailed comments. The conservation advisory committee is reviewing those. Staff is going to work on some edits, and then we'll come back to the city council on the 15th. The affordable housing ordinance, which has been debated and discussed a lot over the last year. We're also hoping to have the final revisions back on November 15th. The planning commission is actually going to be discussing it again on November 9th. So they're not finished with their comments yet. So we'll get that back to the city council and to the public for more discussion. The other policy issue we're working on right now is the marijuana dispensaries and lounges. And that will be on for discussion again on Monday as the city council considers whether or not to opt out of that state legislation as far as allowing dispensaries and lounges in the city. The council asked for more information about what it would look like to regulate them for parking and similar issues. So we'll have that discussion on Monday as well. So I like to try to update on some of the policy issues we're working on. Those are probably the biggest ones we're working on right now as far as legislation goes.
Absolutely.
And what else is going on that bears mentioning, Mayor?
I think that's about it for this week. We had a very fruitful conversation last night during the council meeting. Public comments on the fire chief position that the city of Peekskill is looking to.
Right. Yeah. We should talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, looking to create. Just a reminder to the city that this decision was made based on the safety needs of the city. As the city continues to grow, the population continues to grow, so the need for safety continues to grow. And currently, the chief is a volunteer position, and we appreciate and love our volunteer chiefs and all of our volunteer and career staff firefighters. But we need somebody who's going to be pretty much full time, managing and directing and guiding and recruiting volunteers for the city of Peekskill. We also want to inform people. One of the deputy chiefs or somebody was spreading the information, telling people that the city is going to be hiring a chief for $250,000. That's false information. I encourage the volunteer firefighters, the community, if you're looking for any factual information of what the city is doing, don't hesitate to reach out to any of the city council members or the city manager as well. Look at the city website. The proposed salary that the city is proposing, I believe, is $160,000. not 250 something thousand. I don't know where that came from or why they've been spreading that misinformation. But again, the purpose of all of this is to ensure that the city has the proper safety needs, proper management, and has some sort of a recruitment style to get more volunteers so we don't have to worry about any of the unnecessary tax hikes that people are concerned about. Because as council members and mayors, we're just as concerned. And I want one last thing, I'll let you speak, Andy, is people they tend to forget that as council members, mayor and council members, that we're also residents here. So any decisions that we make that can impact the taxes affect us too. So our goal is not to make it harder for any of us or any of you to live here in the city of Peekskill. But I do encourage you to, when you get this information about all of these new changes that the city is doing, please feel free to look at the city website to get some of the factual information on the other side of the story, as some would say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to that story. It's on the city website already, as far as background on the fire department, how it works, and what the options are for moving it forward. I wanted to mention, just as a housekeeping thing, that tomorrow is citywide paper and cardboard pickup. So folks, please put your recyclables out, and we appreciate that. In my PowerPoint presentation for the budget hearing on the 8th, I'll have a little data on recycling and garbage pickup. And one of the things we noticed is recycling has really increased over the years, um, but the trash pickup is basically flat for several years, which is a good thing. We want to see as much material as possible diverted into recycling. We appreciate people's participation in that program.
Absolutely.
That's good for the environment and save some money. So
Absolutely.
so thank you for that. Thanks to our workers who have to go out and grab it, even though it's going to be probably a rainy day. So
put it out.
yeah.
It gets soggy. We put it out. I just want to remind people too that early voting has begun. The two locations to vote in the city of Peekskill is the neighborhood center, and I believe it's downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct, in the neighborhood center. So when you go in the neighborhood center, you can take the elevator down or walk down the steps, whatever you prefer, or whatever you're capable of doing. And the second location is the Lincoln Center down by the riverfront. So those are the two early voting areas. You can find any information on online. You can Google the information on exactly where and what times the voting polls are open. I believe it's 12 to 5 Monday through Wednesday, and I believe it's a little later on Thursday, and back to 12 to 5 on Friday with the weekend schedule as well. So get out there and vote. I believe it's a little later on Thursday, and back to 12 to 5 on Friday. Ooh, I hear myself as well. So Monday through get out there and vote. I believe it's a little later on Thursday, and back to 12 to 5 on Friday. Ooh, I hear myself as well. So Monday through get out there and vote. I love technology.
We got a little feedback now. Sorry, we got some feedback there for a minute.
No worries, no worries. It happens. So now that we're here, Andy, I don't have anything else on my end. I just wanted to make sure that the fire chief information got out there. The factual fire information chief got out there. And if you want to share anything else or text, see if we got any questions or comments.
We have a couple of Facebook. Somebody asking about the welfare of the individual who's hit by a car down by the railroad station. I understand the person was transported to the hospital in an ambulance, but they weren't. I don't think they were critically injured, which is fortunate. I don't have the details on that, but it's always terrible when you see pedestrians getting hurt. There's some really crazy drivers in this city. I mean, accidents do happen, but especially left turns. We really need to have people watch out when they make those turns. That's probably the most dangerous thing people do as far as pedestrian strikes is the left turns. But I've also seen videos of people running stop signs and otherwise disobeying the traffic safety rules. So please, please, please be careful out there in your car, especially on a rainy day when you can't see as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was another question. Let's see. Oh, they wanted to know if the city had a vaccine mandate for all employees. The answer is no. Those have been litigated in a lot of places. I know that New York City is moving ahead with it, but we don't think we need it. Our employees are really taking good care of themselves, and we're practicing safe health standards in City Hall to protect our guests and customers as well. We're continuing to sanitize all the high touch surfaces and stick to social distancing. The city council chambers is at half capacity. We blocked off half of the benches. So I think we're in pretty good shape as far as managing health risk, and we don't need a vaccine mandate per se, and all the issues that come along with that.
I'm looking at it now.
There's also somebody shared an article about the Peekskill water system, which is wonderful. It's great that Harold did this write up, really about how the whole water system works. I encourage people to take a look at that. it's really exciting that they did that article.
Yeah, and Mike and we did a video. Mike Miner did. Oh, yeah, the person said that too. All right, yeah, Mike Miner did a nice video a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about. Okay, they wrote that too. Brian Handler. Okay, thank you, Brian.
It's a great thing for people to understand more about.
Yeah, it's an older. Okay, yeah, you got it. Wow, you got it. Yeah.
So that's all we got for now, Mayor.
Okay, great. Well, Andy, listen, I thank you again for taking time out to do this. I want to remind people we will be out. We will be in our regular committee, the whole meeting next Monday. It is a virtual meeting only, but the common council meetings are hybrid, but you can still tune in by finding the link to the app, the Zoom app for our meeting on Facebook, on our city website, and so on and so forth. Andy, thanks again for your time, man. I look forward to the next week. Everybody else out there, thanks for tuning in. God bless you all, and God bless one of the greatest cities on earth, Peekskill,
All
New
right,
York.
take care now. Take care. Bye-bye.